Turning to stories here at home in Central Florida this morning, a hospital worker is behind bars accused of sexually abusing a child.
And investigators believe that there could be dozens of victims. West 2's Bob Hazen reports the suspect worked at the hospital there.
He had a job here at South Lake Hospital, and investigators have not said there's any evidence connecting the hospital to any of the victims, but that, of course, is a very big concern. The man under arrest now is 44-year-old Aaron Starbird. He's facing federal charges and is in jail for enticing a child to engage in sexual activity. An arrest report says this started with an Orange County Sheriff's Office investigation last year. A detective posing as a 15-year-old boy on a website allegedly got messages from Starbird showing male private parts and asking him to meet up. They found out that Starbird worked here at South Lake Hospital as a systems specialist pharmacy technician. That did raise some alarms because they worried he could have had unauthorized access to kids who were patients here. The arrest report, again, does not say there's any evidence of that happening, but they brought in the feds to look deeper, and detectives questioned Starbird, who claimed he only liked adults. They also took his phone, though, and they say they found almost 80 images of child sexual abuse material and conversations with other people on Telegram about raping kids. And one of
throw the book at him.
Those messages, Starbird allegedly, quote, discussed prior instances of hands-on rape of male children and stated he preferred children between the ages of 10 and 12. Investigators say they were able to find one of the victims in real life. He was 14 at the time and met up with Starbird once in 2024. They don't think that was the only victim, though. In fact, the arrest report says they found, quote, evidence of at least 30 other children who they believe have engaged in sexual acts with Starbird after communicating with him online. Orlando Health says Starbird no longer works for South Lake Hospital. He is being held in the Seminole County Jail right now on those federal charges with no bond.
These are some of the worst human beings in the world. Child molesters, serial child molesters, people who like this deserve to be under the jail. Now, we talked about this before. There was an act talking about raising the maximum punishment to child molesters or someone like this up to death. But 30, it says over 30 victims possibly. We have to watch what our kids are doing online. It's as simple as that. Let's go over into this next video.
Also tonight, a hospital worker is behind bars accused of luring children for sex. Aaron Starbird is charged with coercing and enticing a child, and the FBI believes there are at least 30 children that he has victimized. Channel 9's Ashton Webb joins us live outside of the Seminole County Jail where Starbird is in custody. Ashton, the FBI says one child reported Starbird had sex with him.
Yes, and we're learning that that victim lived not far from where the suspect did. We were in that community today where we saw kids running around, biking around after school. We spoke to parents who say they are shocked and very disturbed by these allegations. Much of the details are too graphic to report. According to this 11-page arrest affidavit, authorities first learned of Aaron Starbird last September when he began messaging who he thought was a 15-year-old boy, sending pictures exposing himself and saying what sexual acts he wanted to do with him. In reality, it was an Orange County deputy. When deputies confronted him, the affidavit says he told them he would not have relationships with juveniles once he learned their true age. The affidavit says when investigators gained access to Starbird's phone, they recovered more than 70 videos of child pornography, including of toddlers being sexually abused, that Starbird exchanged with other people. The affidavit says investigators spoke to a teen who admitted to having sex with Starbird in 2024 when he was 14 years old. The child told investigators Starbird picked him up outside the teen's house after he snuck out after dark. The child says Starbird took him to his home not far from his, where he engaged in sexual acts. Investigators found Starbird also messaged the child about bringing one of his younger brothers. Starbird writing, "It has always been a fantasy to be with brothers." The report says there could be as many as 30 other victims. Starbird worked at South Lake Hospital in Claremont and previously Orlando Regional Medical Center.
He needs to be put down by firing squad. This is one sick. It's always been my fantasy. Why did he meet him in the first place? I would like to know why that 14-year-old decided to meet him in the first place. He obviously knew that he wasn't a young kid. At least that's my thinking. He picked him up outside his house. He obviously saw him. Saw who it was who was picking him up. Why? Death by firing squad. That's all that we can do about this situation. Jesus.
And that federal complaint was filed today. No word on when he'll be back in front of a judge, but if he is convicted, he'll face another 15 years behind bars.
He needs to die in jail. Let's go over into this AI breakdown just to get a little bit more details about this whole situation. God, look after your kids, y'all, please. So as we know, in March 2026, Aaron Starbird, a 42-year-old former employee of the Orlando Health, was arrested following a federal and local investigation into sexual exploitation of minors. According to the reports, the Orange County Sheriff's Office and the FBI suspected of him victimizing dozens of children. So the key details investigation include, so investigators believe that there's at least 30 victims based on forensic review of his cell phone. He's allegedly used various online apps to lure children as far back as 2024 into communication and engaging in sexual acts. One identified victim, who was 14 at the time, reportedly met him online and visited his home. Starbird was first arrested in December of 2025 after communicating with an undercover officer posing as a 15-year-old. He was charged, includes multiple counts of unlawful possession of child sex abuse material, solicitation of a minor via computer, and transmitting material harmful to a minor. While Starbird worked at the hospital in Claremont, investigators stated that there's no evidence that the children were abused at the hospital facility. Orlando confirmed that he is no longer employed there. He's currently being held without bond. Good, I like that. Authorities are continuing to search for additional victims and encouraging anyone with information to contact the Orange County Sheriff's Office or the FBI. He was so close to so many people. He already has 30. You have to watch what your children are doing online. This 14-year-old met him online and then snuck out the house to go get molested by a young boy. Go get molested by this old man. There are some sick individuals. There's some demons. But he needs to be in jail for the rest of his life. Will he? Hopefully. Hopefully the judicial system don't fuck up like they usually do. F up like they usually do. Excuse my language, but hey, we got to look after the kids. At the end of the day, we have to look after the kids. That's why when Alabama proposed that legislation to have the maximum penalty for child molesters as death, I don't see anything wrong with that. Go back and watch that other video, but it's the world sometimes just so sick. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said, but more than 30 victims. They only know of one so far. And there's just children walking around with this memories of what he did to them. Some are handling it, some are not. And some probably did the worst. It's a crazy situation, y'all. Like I said, let me know your thoughts on this situation. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said.